For decades in the United States, the left has been harboring this anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, institutional, systemic vibe. When we talk about the capture of our academic institutions and the anti-Zionism that's taught there by faculty and the money that floods in from Qatar and China and all the curriculum and all the Students for Justice in Palestine, who do you think controls those institutions? It's not the Heritage Foundation. It's not the Republican Party. It is controlled wholly by the left. The anti-Zionism, which often has all the other leftism stuff, the socialism, the communism, the anti-Western, anti-democracy, it is part and parcel of what has become leftist politics and academia in our country. This is why you have a women's march that becomes an anti-Zionist march, a Black Lives Matter march that becomes an anti-Zionist march, and on and on and on. Why? Because they see it as an intersectional cesspool of what has to happen. If you are a good social justice person, you're against Israel. That's been true for a long time. What's my point? Arguably, no other ethnic group is targeted with anti-Zionist propaganda like Black America. This goes back to the 60s. Why do you think Israel's enemies call it an apartheid state? Because Black South Africans suffered apartheid, which was a scourge on the earth. So you keep calling Israel an apartheid state, you are delegitimizing its existence. And what gives you fodder? You focus on Black South Africans, let Yasser Arafat take some pictures with Nelson Mandela, boom. Zionism is racism. Why did the United Nations pass that resolution in 1975? Because racism, Jim Crow, apartheid. You see the theme here, right? We are going to exploit what Black people actually went through and lie and say that that's what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. Boom, that's what you get. This has been the tripe that has been pushed, not just on the Black community, but using the Black community to show other people that anti-Zionism or being pro-Palestinian is a good social justice warrior. Within the pro-Israel space, when there are overtures made to the Black community, it's almost always exclusively to progressive Black people. It's fine. You should be able to reach everybody. I know of organizations who explicitly won't even talk to Black conservatives or libertarian. Somehow conservative or libertarian even means somehow they're kind of defective, that if they're not card-carrying leftists or progressives, how can they dare stand, or how are they able to? If I had $1 for every time one of my more liberal Jewish friends told me that abortion is a Jewish right, not Jewish right, Jewish principle, going, what do you mean? What does that have to do with being Jewish? A person, whether they are pro-life or pro-choice, what does it have to do with which religion? And for some of them, someone who's actually pro-life should not even approach the Israel thing because somehow they're disqualified. I'm making a point here. There's a problem when you use the Bible to justify Israel's existence, and then that same person goes to the same Bible and tells them that life begins at conception. Oh, you're a right winger. Okay, see, that's how the game gets played. So either we're going to use the Bible or we're not. Either we pick and choose, because you know what Israel's enemies do? They pick and choose. They'll say stuff like, Israel went in and slaughtered the Canaanites. They committed genocide. Therefore, they have no legal right to the land. You never heard that before? I've heard that millions of times, right? What gives them the right to go in and, well, God has this covenant with Abraham, and he told Abraham this land, blah, 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 blah. So what you're doing, you're going to the Bible to explain how Israel came, whether you consider yourself religious or not. There are Black Americans now, multi-generational, who are having very deep conversations. They've been having these conversations in the barbershops and the churches anyway. But now it's all in the open because Obama comes and starts tongue lashing folks. Black men need to vote for you. You don't want a woman to be ruling over you. All this kind of foolishness talking out the other side of his neck. And I shared you that video of folks bringing him all the smoke. There is an opportunity here to actually have a Zion-Israel conversation while many in the Black community are sorting through and sifting through what they've been told by the Democratic Party. Alan Dershowitz himself said a few weeks ago, Israel is no longer a partisan issue. A lifelong card-carrying Democrat stood up and just spoke the truth that this anti-Zionist systematic thing is very much lodged in what has become the UK labor situation with the Democrats are concerned. Oh, no, I'm a Democrat and I stand with Israel. You are becoming more and more of the minority, whether you want to admit it or not. And those of you who've watched this podcast or have heard any of my lectures anything before, you know, I'll bring the smoke to the right as well. We've been sounding the alarm on a rising anti-Semitism on the Christian right in this country. But that does not mean that for decades, Israel has been getting dragged. Jews have been getting dragged. Jews are white and privileged. That's the intersectionality crap, the critical race theory crap, all those things that our kids are being force-fed, that the diversity, equity, inclusion means white people are evil. And because Jews are white, they are the most evil, and they're all rich. Jews are white and rich, therefore, they are the problem. These kids are learning this. And who's teaching them? It's not right-wingers teaching them that.
Truth to Power Live with Jimmy Study Washington.